Great.
Shuts them
It's
off.
it's ominous. We have
I can't do that.
2 more minutes until 6. We might as well wait till the start time just in case there are any stragglers who want to participate either in person or on the Zoom call. 1 more minute now. It's coming down. Thank you. Gil's ready.
It's in 1 minute.
Yeah.
No, I can't see you.
Time will fly.
That's what. It's a process. I'm trying to figure it out where the screen should be.
So if there are more people up there than back there, then we have them move over the screen.
How many people are on the Zoom call? I see Dave Dyer. Is that right?
There's
I can't see a list
Well-
of participants.
Pete, I'm assuming it's your Pete, and Jennifer West are on the call too, but they did not want to become panelists evidently, so you can't see them.
He's being covert.
Yeah.
That's fine.
They came in how?
They're listening.
Just listening.
All right, meeting called to order. We are a quorum, in fact, a full house.
Now we can see.
First order of business is to accept the minutes of the March 31st regular meeting. Do I have a motion? Moved by Shay, second by Lauren. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Another great job by Tina.
Good job.
Visitor comments and petitions. There are a handful of people here, more than we've had lately. Does anybody have anything that they want to address that's not already on the agenda? Well, Bonnie, Gil, Melissa?
We just came to lend support if there were any questions regarding the project of Victory.
I see that we have on the agenda that there is an upcoming meeting, our planning board public hearing on April 22nd at 6 p.m. It's going to be at the Kinnicket Center. So I think all of those questions and concerns will be addressed then. I haven't talked about it with Janet, but this is a town application.
Correct.
And we will have people from the town showing up to participate at that hearing. To be determined who. I will likely go myself. And I think that perhaps there'll be others.
And Earl has been speaking to it. I've given him a letter of standing to go to the planning board.
Yeah, we got it.
So.
Great.
Yeah. So,
I'll address.
and Ken
Right.
Smith may also, participate in.
Sounds good. Yes, please.
And there is also a public site review the day before on Thursday, the 21st at 5 o'clock.
Oh,
At 5?
Great. Just in case that didn't get picked up on the mic, there's going to be a site review for the Big Tree Dock project on the 21st at 5 p.m. Great. Thank you for that. With that, I guess we'll continue. Ferry service update, nothing new to my knowledge, unless anybody has any questions or things they want to discuss about the ferry before we move on. Hearing none. Sea level rise update, Shay.
Not much new to report. Tomorrow, representatives from the Sea Level Rise Committee and the Energy Committee are going to be meeting for the first time with Gabe McPhail to map out a process to go through the community resilience partnership with the state. So more to come on that. That will require some review of statements from the select board to approve in order to enroll in that program so that we're eligible for state funding.
That sounds good. Any questions from anybody about sea level rise update? Hearing none, moving on. We did cover this, but I'll say it again, upcoming meeting, there's going to be a planning board meeting on April 22nd at 6 p.m. at the Kinnicket Center, and there's going to be a site review for the same Big Tree Dock project the day before on the 21st at 5 p.m. There is a planning board meeting on April 25th, and that is all that's coming up. Town manager's report. Janet, I know you said you didn't put one together. Is there anything you want to add?
Oh, I may be taking some time off next week. play grandmother, so
Great.
I'll let you know what days.
No correspondence. Old business, approve and sign the annual 22-23 emergency operations plan. I know we got emailed, I didn't see, is this considerably different than the one we
No.
signed in the past? Is it the
No,
same?
it's basically the same thing, it just updates the date. It's in that orange notebook, the one that you all will sign.
Great.
And
This
I
is-
thought Fred might be on the line if you had any
He's
questions. but-
This is a
involved with
meeting
the
over there.
Bicycle safety.
Yeah,
meeting.
this is something that we sign every year, and I believe it has to do with federal funding for certain safety things that
To
we
be
have to
able
have
to
a plan
receive, yeah.
in place, and so Fred has put that together, which is great. Does anybody have any questions, concerns, discussion about this? Otherwise, I would entertain a motion to approve.
I move that we accept the 2023 emergency operations plan.
Great, moved by Lauren,
Second.
second by Phil. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Great. It's approved, and we'll sign and pass it along.
Can I ask for us to go out of order and allow, I did realize that there was one other update with sea level rise that I think actually is important.
Great, let's go back to sea level
I was
rise.
gonna say something.
Right,
didn't wanna-
My brain is catching up with my mouth.
You're lucky.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
I'll be back.
We met the Sea Level Rise committee with Janet, met with the Department of Transportation last week to start to talk about sea level rise planning at Grindle Point. Lauren and Janet and I haven't had a chance to, kind of talk about our impressions, but I would say it was not much.
We're on our own.
I mean, I don't think we were on our own. Basically, the state is about to, currently has an RFP out to do some modeling work across the entire coastline. And they really encouraged us to hold off on any planning work until that model was done, which they anticipated to be in about 12 to 18 months. I think probably much of what was done already is the ransom report is likely to be the same as the modeling that the state commissions. They were, basically said, don't worry, we won't let you lose access. But I don't think necessarily that we were talking to the right person either within the state. So, I don't know how much more we need to push or if we will get anywhere until we have the results of that modeling work at the state. But I would say it made me feel like we needed to model what we wanted to see as a community kind of at the Narrows, and perhaps reapproach them in a year's time when they have their modeling work done. And, we have something pretty concrete to share to say, here's what we're looking for and how we want to work together. I don't know. That was my kind of impression. What do you guys think?
Yeah, and we have them recorded saying that.
Somewhere. it's
Yes,
in the cloud.
somewhere in there, he said, point blank, in fact, we mentioned that it was being recorded, that they would in fact make sure that we weren't having trouble accessing the mainland, that they would take care of that in sufficient time. So whether this, I feel the same way, that
It's
this
got a
probably
good track
wasn't the
record on
guy
that
to
type of
talk
thing,
to.
so I wouldn't worry at all about that. They're just right on top of it.
But do you think, I just thought of this, their modeling that they're working is only on state roads? They're not doing the whole,
No, they are doing the entire
they
coast.
are doing, well,
Right,
all
because
our
it,
coast too, or just?
yes, no, I mean, I think it is a true coast-wide study. So, I mean, I think in order to do that modeling, it's not something that you can isolate, because it's really less about the infrastructure and it's more about the inundation levels. And then you layer that on top of what would be inundated, is my understanding. So,
That'll be good information to have. I think, for us.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Well, thanks for that update. Any questions on that? additional update about sea level rise? Hearing none, on to new business. Did everybody sign this, Lauren? No. I was supposed to pass it on, I forgot. I stopped it there. Okay, first, the proposal for the mobile lunch wagon at Grindle Point. How many we have?
One.
One, same one that we've always had, perhaps. Okay, we have, oh, for $500, is that what it is?
Correct.
From Karen Silly, it's the Sandcastle Grill that has been in operation there for several years anyway. I don't believe, just looking through the plan, that anything has changed. I guess we do need to approve this, right?
If you're going to accept that.
Okay, well, we could put it to a vote and see. I would entertain a motion to approve the bid to operate Sandcastle Grill at the ferry terminal for $500.
So,
Moved by Phil, second by Melissa. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Next order of business, approve 22-23 budget. We spent a lot of time at the last, it wasn't even a meeting, it was a workshop, trying to hammer out the details of the budget. I believe we are at a 0.9% decrease from last year. However, we do not have undesignated funds to offset the budget, so there will be a small increase in the amount needed to be raised through taxation. And I think Shay said it was roughly 65 cents on top of the mill rate, but a lot of that is, well, not a lot. Some of that is related to the school, some of that is related to the county, and some of it is related to the town, but the town budget is down nearly 1%. So I think that's a good thing and about as good as we can do, honestly.
so do I understand when we get our tax bill, it's gonna be the bill plus 65 cents?
No, it's good. So the way the mill rate works is that's the value that you're going to be taxed on $100,000. Or wait,
Wow.
$1,000 of tax, of that
No,
property value.
Mill,
Was it
1,000?
1,000, yeah. So for every 1,000 of value, it will be times, it's what it is now, like this year it was 17 even. Times,
And so.
if you have a
the-
$100,000 house.
Right, if you have a $100,000 house, you're gonna pay $65 more in taxes.
Yes, 17, so it was $17 last year, this year, if that's correct, 17.65 per 1,000. So 65 cents more times.
Wait, 650?
650 if you know decimal 3 places.
I wasn't prepared for my math.
Where's my
The mill rate
calculator?
ought to be.
Was it 17? Something like
17 even right now.
Fred's on the call now.
Great. Hey, Fred.
Hey.
Fred's we've already approved and signed the operations plan.
Okay, thank you.
Putting that together, Fred, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Anyway, that's where we are with the budget. The mill rate, that's where we are. We'll get clarification in the mill rate. I don't think that should hold us up right now.
Can I make a motion
Please.
that we accept the FY 22-23 budget as it is proposed this evening in our package?
Moved by Phil,
Second.
second by Shay. Is there any discussion more about the budget before it gets sent to the voters? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
It is unanimous. Great, budget is approved. Next order of business is plan a public hearing on ordinance revisions, removing fees.
And then I've added on this agenda, revised that it's the planning board that will hold that public hearing because it's about land use. It's not the planning, and it's not the select board.
So have we gone through the town code and tried to identify other areas where fees are written into the code?
Not all of them, no. I mean, I was focusing on, well, erase that, the land use. That's the ones you were talking about. I thought you wanted to do that now.
I'm talking about all of them.
I know, but I thought you were focusing on land use right
I
now.
wasn't focusing on anything in particular personally. I just thought that we have a significant amount of money that's spent on codes enforcement, on plumbing inspection, and that our fees, I think generally speaking, are much lower than the average, and we ought to be trying to recoup some of the cost for that. And that was just one particular example. I know we talked about the fees for parking at the ferry, perhaps costing less than it costs us to buy the stickers. You know, things like that. And I think the demo bins is another example, but I'm just concerned more about, at this point, having the ability to change those things. And I think that changing it from part of the code where you have to get a full town vote to set the rates for anything is well, particularly inefficient. And I don't think that you're gonna run into, I mean, too much of an issue with the select board controlling the fees for the various things. I mean, I think those, I mean, I'm not trying to like hide the ball. I mean, I think the reality of these changes is the select board is probably going to vote to increase the cost of various things that have not changed for a really long time. But I don't think that it's a particularly efficient thing to try to have the entire town vote and set rates, for example, for how much it should cost to get rid of the demo bin. So that's all. But I think that if we're gonna be going through this, I mean, we certainly could do it piecemeal and.
Well, probably the big ones, the solid waste that's already out of there.
Yeah.
You've removed that. So the planning board, there's the other place where you make money. I mean, that charges fees. I don't think there's really much else that we charge fees for that amounts to anything. Parking at River Point.
Right,
that's-
and it doesn't amount to much.
Yeah, but I think the land use and the solid waste. And I don't have my revenue in front of me, but that's the.
Right, and I think that those things that, you know, if these changes happen, we'll have to address and come up with the pricing on those various things, and perhaps we ought to have something in advance of a meeting of what we likely will pass afterwards, so that people can have an idea about what we're anticipating the change being. But I don't think that,
Is all of the town code online?
yes.
Yes.
Okay.
We can find it. We
Well,
can probably do
you-
a search for a dollar sign and find every place that there's money in that code and just try to understand, you know, why we're writing particular dollar amounts into something, you know, just like it's
Right.
creates a crazy process to try to change the fee for some of this stuff.
But if you were trying to do that to get into the town meeting for this year, that's the purpose of this.
Yes, right, yeah.
So you
So
want
we-
to continue with this, the planning board having this public hearing?
Yes, I think we, I mean, my own view is that we probably ought to be looking at things wholesale, but I'm not opposed to changing, for example, the waste and the land use. And just removing those fees from the code. And I think there are other places that you see this in the code that just say it's up to the select board to
Right.
set the fees, you know, and I think that's the way to do it for a lot of these things.
All right, so for this right now, for that, for the planning board public hearing, on Tuesday, I'm gonna receive from Sally the wording for the warrant article, and that's what we could take to the public hearing for people, it's just removing it.
Great.
And if we do that, because I have to post it in the paper, I have to this and that, so it's gotta happen. So I'm trying to work on a schedule, like when we get to talking about the town meeting, trying to get these things taken care of so we can
Yes.
have a June town meeting.
Thank you for thinking about all those things, like just the timeline for getting these things changed is cumbersome, I know.
Can I ask just a clarifying question? Why do we not need a public hearing to change language in the road names ordinance?
I think because she said it's just one word. And that's what she said, we did not need. There has to, it's gonna be a separate warrant article at town meeting in the warrant, so I guess that is the time when it will come up and people say, you know, hard telling how it
It is
will
curious,
go.
I mean, just one word, but the word is permissive to mandatory, right?
Yeah.
Becomes like a choice versus a
So when
requirement.
that comes up in that article, it may not pass, so.
Yeah, no, I just was curious about
Yeah,
that
and then-
threshold for public hearing.
And repurposing the ferry defense fund.
That again will be a separate article.
Yeah.
And at that time, that's a time for people to talk, discuss it on the floor.
Anybody have any, do we need to do anything else with this front? Anybody have any more thoughts, discussion on this topic? Anybody who's here or on the call have any thoughts about this or want to discuss further before we move on?
I would just say that the fees for regarding building are very low compared to others in the big coast.
Yes,
It's definitely a great place to boost some revenue and no one's gonna balk at any increase.
yeah. I know, that's sort of one of the things that I thought when I saw that, and then it's really hard to change them because they're built right into the town code, so,
I
yeah, that's why they haven't changed them forever, because we have to have a special.
I don't think anybody would show up and say, yeah, no, that should, I hope not.
I hope not. I mean, I think that you're right about that. Anything else? Hearing none. Reviewing the dates for the town meeting.
If Melissa tells me is June 18th available. So there you go, there's our date. Because when I first did this agenda, I was at the point of emailing and finding out what was available, and May was, I think the only thing in May was the weekend of Memorial Day. I said no, and then,
June 18th is late, though.
yep,
I know you sent that email out, or I don't know if I have a copy here, about potentially doing it on a Friday evening or Thursday
or something.
evening.
That might open up another date, I'm not sure, but I didn't hear back from anybody, so I figured that was a no-go.
I thought we were just discussing it. here.
Yeah.
I know I'm not available on the 18th, but I trust all of you.
I
to-
also-
But I'm not able to be, I'm just, but if we keep it that day, I
So-
will not be able to attend.
So we have one vote for the 18th.
Great.
Sounds
It's
Yeah,
with
thank
you.
Right?
It's my understanding that the school principal also would not be available on the 18th.
So it seems like.
Oh, he's
perhaps it
not
would
gonna be there?
better to
On
do
the
it.
Kate Legier
Oh, Kate. well, sure.
would not be able to.
Will Dominic be there?
I don't even know if Dominic's here tomorrow.
Well, it's not fair. I mean, this, oh, we can talk about that later.
So, and I don't know if he would be able to attend on a Saturday, especially starting it at 8 AM. That I don't know.
It starts at 9.
Okay. And so I was just looking off of the request that was sent in
Well,
from
that's
8
because
to
we're
2.
there setting up early.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense, but I don't know, and it hasn't been discussed with him what any kind of availability that he has either.
Yeah, I mean, generally the school board has the superintendent and principal there. Don't leave it all on for salaries.
No, I wouldn't like to do So that.
is the 17th also an option? It's Friday night.
Of June?
Yeah.
I see that if we're doing it on a Thursday or a Friday, we kick it back into May.
You're here.
It's too
On
soon
board
though
with
for-
that?
But I've got to,
Yeah.
I've got to, crank back dates and see about these public hearings and what's going on.
Pretty much anything after these. Okay, so yes, anything after 3 PM past the 16th
Of May.
June, I could give you.
Oh, how about May?
Oh,
Late May. Except the 20, that week, well, I guess that doesn't matter, it's the week of the 20.
the only thing that's, our meeting is the 25th. Other than that whole week, you could have any day after 3 PM. Or all day Saturday, the 28th.
I'm in favor of moving it up in May, understanding that there are going to be time constraints and we can't move it up so close that we can't get public hearings and things on the ballot that we want to get on the ballot. But I think other than that, I'd rather see it on a Thursday or a Friday night and instead of pushing it back till almost the end of June. Thoughts? Melissa?
Sorry, I know it's not protocol specifically, but have you ever had it at night or is it generally during the day? The reason I ask is if you have children, a night meeting is pretty much out of the question. You wouldn't really be able to attend because your children will be tired. You can't bring them along and there's not a lot of sitters on the island. So you're pretty much saying if you have it after 4 PM, anyone with a 10 and under is probably not going to be able to attend.
Is that fair?
And similarly, people who worked all day, a lot of people, I mean, are you really gonna try to do the school budget and the town budget at this meeting? I feel like that's a lot to ask. As a community member, I probably wouldn't attend, but I would attend on Saturday.
I mean, that, and
Just putting it
historically-
out there, trying to figure out what
Yeah.
other people might be thinking.
It
like,
does, it goes so long.
It goes a long time.
It would be 4 hours.
It would be a lot.
Some
of
people
time.
don't like to drive at night either. I know it's daylight now, but these things drag out.
So the limitation is the Kinnicket Center is booked, it sounds like most weekends. Is
Mhm.
that true?
Yeah.
In
Um,
May. Right?
Even starting in April. And then we have the 14th is the class auction, 21st is the energy jamboree, which makes it where just nobody's available. The 28th is open. The-
28th of May.
But that's
But that's Memorial
Memorial Day
Weekend.
weekend. Is that a
Um,
problem for people?
I'm out of town that weekend.
The
Most
fourth-
people are- A lot of people are out.
You know, they might be, so.
The 4th is a potential prom date. They don't have the location locked down. And so that's why we have to reserve it for them in
Mhm.
case it
Well, if that
goes
changed, I
wrong.
mean, that would love the June 4th.
We're not gonna
Don't
know
they
it for a
normally-
while.
Wasn't
And
it prom
so-
at night though?
And didn't they hold it at the community center? Wasn't
When
that the-
last year they held it at the sporting club.
But they have to decorate. If it's at the
Well-
Kinnicket Center, they're gonna decorate.
Yeah,
it.
if
it's
They'll
not-
reserve it for the entire day,
When is that decision gonna be made?
not until somebody gives them an answer about the venue that they're looking at.
Who do you squeeze to have them make a decision?
Melissa.
Not me.
Is Melissa?
Graduation is the 11th, which brings us to
Yeah.
the opening of 18th.
Right.
Who is they, who makes the decision about prom?
The prom committee, which is students and parent advisors, which puts it firmly out of reach of the school because they were told that they had to pick a venue and a date. They were able to get the date
25th too late?
of June.
That's the deadline if we're gonna do it on Saturday. But I mean,
We
I'd
have to do it
rather,
before the start of the next,
yeah.
we have to do it before the next fiscal year.
Well,
Or else we're
25th is
in
before
trouble.
that,
No,
What day?
huh? And you're not here?
I'm not here. I'm not available for that day.
Is a Sunday a possibility or is that?
Ooh.
No.
I was gonna say Sunday, I could give you every day of the week.
Sunday's fine with me. I'm not clear how the town would feel about a Sunday.
If it was afternoon.
Doesn't have a good feel to it.
Um,
You make the decision.
What doesn't have a good feel to it about
Sunday, I don't know.
church?
I think you hear a lot of,
It'd have to be in the
A day of
afternoon.
rest.
But if you guys are seriously considering afternoon, we could talk to the school about May 20th. It is a half day at the school.
that's a Friday,
Mhm.
May 20th.
So they leave the school at what, 1,
Noon.
2?
But then people who work won't come. The teachers, do they skip right away or do they have to stay there?
They have to stay because it's an in-service day.
So they wouldn't be really.
So they'd be working.
So do I understand the prom committee's waiting for an answer from somebody as
Mhm.
to the availability of the facility?
Mhm.
Which isn't the school.
Correct. Which is why we have the gym on reserve for them.
Yeah.
And
So
so,
they
and we
can have a
can't bump
place.
them, right? And then if something goes south with the location that they are trying to agree upon right now, then, because it's between the gym is the forerunner and then the other
Maybe
location.
the theme for the prom could be town meeting.
Yes, I absolutely.
We give them a
Quiet day.
Just let 'em walk around.
We could have a
Music.
news reporting RS.
Well, should I contact whoever these parents are?
No.
Why, are they top secret?
No, it's that
It's there.
it's keeping. The kids are responsible for it and they asked what they have to do and they've been given it. And so I don't believe that. Putting a different squeeze on them, it goes against what they were advised from the school. as what their procedure
Yeah,
is.
they reserved the space and they had those.
They've done it the proper way that they needed to. And so, because then it's almost like you're trying to force them out of it.
I'm just wanting to know if they're gonna make a decision.
Right, and part of it comes down to the, because I know that right now they do have the gym as what they are wanting. I think they're split. But there's split by like 2 people on, the majority of them wanted to have it at the gym, and you have a couple holdouts that are trying to, for a different location. And then you have a couple more that are trying for an entirely different location, and it is a headache and I don't want to deal with it.
Well, I would like to know when they make the decision. Can you
Absolutely.
arrange that?
Does,
If
if they tell me, because I am not on the prom committee and I have stepped as far away from that as is humanly possible. But they will notify Kate and I will tell Kate to let me know when they have a location.
Okay, well, I would opt for that June 4th, but June 18th, I guess, is our.
Thoughts?
Unless-
Thoughts from the select board?
I can suggest them moving it forward, but then you guys are cleaning up after prom if you want to have it the 4th,
Have it the 4th?
June 4th, like you're wanting.
Yeah.
If I ask them to move prom forward to the 3rd,
Oh, backwards, you mean,
prom would be Friday night,
Friday, oh, instead of.
and you guys would be cleaning up prom Saturday morning to have town meeting there.
Just get a leaf blower.
There you go. But that would, because I don't know, our custodians and stuff like that wouldn't be in before that.
Well, that doesn't seem right
I can't speak. Okay, don't tell me who they
to
are.
me, I mean.
But it comes down to the time constraint that you're talking about. If you wanted it on that one, that could be a good possibility.
So what I'm hearing is there's no really opportunity to be in, have the town meeting in the gym. Except for the 18th, that's what I'm
Or the
hearing on
25th.
Saturday. And
For the 28th of May,
Or the 28th of May.
because then graduation is the 11th.
I think we should do it the 28th of May.
I mean,
Is
is there enough room?
Oh, it's Memorial Day weekend.
And Gabe's not here.
I won't be
But-
here, but
Is
But
there,
Melissa, it seems like, I mean, if the only option is the 4th and, or the, unless the kids would do the 3rd and then we would clean the gym after the event. Seems like there needs to be a little more slack. This is the school budget and the town budget.
Right.
And it just seems like there must be a little wiggle room, like somebody calling the key people in the parents group and just saying, could you tell us the deadline? So we know how to make a decision.
Yeah, I
Right.
just want to know.
The last thing that I had heard was that it was the gym.
Then
And so,
they should.
I mean, if that's what
Okay, then we
we're,
should just make that decision that we can't use the gym. And
can we use the ICC?
I can check dates there.
they should be wide open.
I think that's a shame from a,
The ICC has something on the 21st. of
Right.
May. For sure.
Because that's the energy jamboree.
Yeah.
Oh. But they would potentially have the 14th,
I don't know if we're gonna be ready for
okay,
18th, May 28th.
but
Is that what it is? Saturday? After
He
the
just said
21st?
move the town meeting to
Right,
the
that's
community center.
Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, we've done that once.
there.
Oh, man.
is that a
Um,
problem?
Well. There shouldn't be.
Maybe we should call ICC and find out.
Do you
what
want me to
days.
check with the community center and see about June 4th?
Is anybody concerned about prom being that day and having parents who are like, I don't know, taking pictures or?
I have a message from Principal Legier, prom will be moved to the 3rd.
Oh.
So the 4th would be open.
7th to 4th.
But it needs to be cleaned.
Right. And we can ask the prom kids to stay and clean up after their prom.
Means we have to get in there at 7
Early.
o'clock, because usually we go in the afternoon before to set up chairs, and get, people.
Right, and so that wouldn't be an option because they would have prom going when you guys are wanting to set
Right.
up.
Right, I get that.
So what
Yeah.
time on Saturday? Maybe we could give enough time when you could.
I was gonna say, why not move it back a little bit?
share.
Yeah,
We
Give people
haven't
time to wake
said
up.
anything yet. We haven't done any warrant or anything.
So if it's 4 hours, maybe it could be from 1 to 5 or something like that.
I'm getting a headache.
well, I was even thinking,
Afternoon, instead of just moving it back to 10, say?
However you want to do, it. I'm just
I was
thinking of
thinking
time
10
for
to
you all
2.
to.
10 to 2.
10 to whenever, you don't know. it's
I
gonna
say
be
10 to
what
2 on the 4th at the school. And worst case scenario is people have to set up their own chairs when they get there, which I'm confident the town can.
oh, I
Can
Community
facilitate.
building event.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm confident that we can get through. If it's not really ready, people will help set up when they get there. I would
Thank Kate.
entertain a motion to approve that as the date for the town meeting.
So moved.
Moved by
Second.
Shay, second by Warren. Is there any more discussion?
God, no.
All in favor?
Aye.
With thanks from the flexibility of the school
Yes,
to
thank you very
move the
much,
prom.
Melissa, for on the fly coming up with a solution during the meeting. Okay,
you want me to
moving
schedule-
on.
do you want me to schedule the superintendent for anything while I have my phone out? I have this calendar pulled up in front of me.
Yeah, see if he wants to be there.
I'll just put it on there for you.
Other business, there's no other business. All right, next order of business, approving warrant number 21 for year 2022.
So moved.
Moved by Shay. Second by Phil. Is there any discussion?
Thanks, Melissa.
Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Warrant is approved. Appointments, Shellfish Conservation, Kim Grindle. Any discussion, or I guess, I have a motion. Moved by Shay. Second by Phil. Is there any discussion? All in favor? What? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Kim is on the Shellfish Conservation Committee. That is it. Chair comments. I feel like I did have something I wanted to say, but. don't remember. Guess I'm not gonna say anything. Vice Chair comments, Shay.
No comments.
No comments for Shay. Melissa?
Nope.
Phil? Nothing. Lauren gets the last word.
Nada.
Motion to adjourn.
So
Second.
Aye. Have a good night, everybody. Do we?